Welcome to this channel. Mau belajar bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Inggris dengan cara yang seru, santai, dan mudah dipahami? You're in the right place. Belajar kosakata dan ekspresi sehari-hari. Learn daily vocabulary and expressions. Dengarkan contoh situasi nyata. Listen to real-life examples. Subscribe sekarang dan nyalakan notifikasi. Let's learn together and have fun.
Welcome to the Motorcar channel and welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Our mission, well, it's pretty simple. We take some fascinating source material like the article we're digging into today, and we pull out the really important insights.
The surprising bits, the aha moments.
Exactly. So you can get genuinely well-informed pretty quickly and thoroughly. Think of it as like your personal shortcut to understanding what really matters.
Especially when it comes to navigating language and culture.
And we promise it won't be a dry lecture.
No, definitely not. Learning should be engaging, right? And today's material, it offers this unique lens. You get to understand not just language mechanics, but also those subtle ways culture is just, embedded in it.
Absolutely. So today our focus is this really fascinating article. It's titled, "The More Things Change, the More They Stay the Same in Indonesia."
Intriguing title.
It is. And it's packed with this authentic English-Indonesian conversation, loads of practical examples, and some really insightful cultural points.
Sounds perfect for this deep dive format.
Yeah, I think this is going to be incredibly useful for anyone currently learning Indonesian, or honestly, anyone just curious about how language reflects everyday stuff like changes and cultural shifts.
And often it's those simple, everyday exchanges, That's where the most valuable lessons hide, in language and culture. This material really shows how a casual chat can open up these big societal shifts.
Okay, let's dive in then. Our journey starts with this seemingly simple, everyday Indonesian dialogue. It's between two friends, Lisa and Sari.
The kind of chat you might actually overhear.
Totally, it really sets the stage. So Lisa spots Sari and says, "Halo Sari, sudah lama enggak ketemu, kamu datang sendirian."
And Sari replies, "Datang sama adik perempuan aku, paling dia lagi ambil minuman."
Then Lisa makes this, pretty direct observation. "Oh, yeah, sepertinya warna kulit kamu makin gelap, ya."
Okay, let's pause there. So the English for you listening. Lisa says, "Hi, Sari. Long time no see. Are you just by yourself?"
And Sari, "I came with my younger sister. She's most likely gone to grab a drink."
And then Lisa's comment, "Oh, I see. Hey, seems like your skin is getting darker, isn't it?"
Wow, right off the bat.
Exactly. Right from the start, you see how personal appearance can be a very direct topic, even a casual one in Indonesian conversation.
Yeah.
It immediately gives you a peek into cultural nuances.
It really does. And Sari's reaction is, so relatable. She says, "Oh, kelihatan ya. Padahal aku sudah pakai tabir surya terus lo."
Which means, oh, does it show? Actually, I've been wearing sunscreen all the time,
And then Lisa, quick to reassure her, says, "Kelihatannya jadi lebih manis kok. Enggak usah khawatir kemana saja liburan kemarin."
You've become more sweet looking, don't worry. Where have you been for holiday recently? So a quick pivot after the comment.
Yeah, a nice recovery.
And the conversation just flows naturally into travel talk. Sari shares, "Minggu lalu aku baru pulang jalan-jalan ke Gold Coast sama suami."
Or, "I just got back from a trip to the Gold Coast with my husband last week."
Lisa sounds pleased for her. Enak banget. Di sana lagi musim panas ya sekarang.
Really? That's so nice. Is it summer over there right now?
And then Sari's observation about the heat, it's quite telling. Yeah. Tapi rasanya makin panas dibanding beberapa tahun yang lalu.
Yes, it was. But it felt like it was much hotter than it was a few years ago.
To which Lisa agrees, memang di mana-mana cuacanya sudah banyak berubah ya.
The weather everywhere has definitely changed a lot, right?
It's really quite something, isn't it? How this seemingly simple chat,
which sounds so natural, so informal,
is just packed with real-world Indonesian. For anyone learning the language, This kind of everyday dialogue is, like you said, pure gold.
Absolutely.
And it instantly brings up themes like, personal appearance, travel, and even touches on something huge like climate change.
Yeah, all in a few lines.
It's a perfect example. Casual exchanges are these incredibly rich sources for vocab, for context, and definitely for cultural insight, especially if you're learning Indonesian.
Okay, so that simple chat packed with gems, as we said. Let's pull one out. What's a phrase in there that really jumps out as super practical for learners?
Well, I think Lisa's comforting phrase, "Enggak usah khawatir," that's incredibly useful.
Ah, okay. Enggak usah khawatir.
Yeah, it literally translates to "no need worry." So enggak is your informal no.
Right.
Usa means to need to, and khawatir means worry. So put it together. It's basically your casual no worries or don't worry about it in Indonesian.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to sound a bit more formal, maybe, in a work setting or talking to someone older, how would that change?
Good question. For more formal situations, you'd swap enggak for tidak. That's the formal no or not.
Okay, tidak.
And you can also swap usa for perlu, which also means to need. So tidak perlu khawatir is probably the most formal way to say it.
Gotcha. Tidak perlu khawatir.
There's a little nuance here, though. While usa and perlu both mean to need to, they aren't always interchangeable.
Ah, okay.
But specifically for this phrase, no need to worry.
Yeah.
Both tidak usah khawatir and tidak perlu khawatir work and sound formal enough. But if you just mean need, generally, like I need paper, you typically use perlu or maybe butuh.
Right, okay. So it's about knowing the context, knowing when that swap works. Can you give us another example using usa?
Sure. Imagine you've already cooked dinner. You might tell someone, "Saya sudah masak, kamu tidak usah beli makanan."
Okay.
That means, I already cooked, you don't need to buy food. It's a very common way to say something isn't necessary.
Perfect. That clarifies it. Now let's shift to Sari's comment about the heat. Rasanya makin panas.
Right. Rasanya makin panas. So rasanya comes from the root word rasa.
Grasa. Feeling. Taste.
Exactly. It can mean feeling, taste, or even sense. Here it's like it feels or the feeling is. Then makin means increasingly.
Makin, increasingly. Got it.
And panas just means hot. So put it together. It feels increasingly hot. It's a pretty informal way to describe that change in temperature.
And if you wanted to be more formal, how would you say that?
You'd probably swap makin for semakin. So rasanya semakin panas.
Ah, semakin. Just that small change.
Yeah, that subtle shift often signals a more formal context, or maybe just a slightly more emphatic way of saying it's getting hotter.
So if someone says beberapa hari ini rasanya makin panas saja, like in the source,
they're essentially saying these couple of days it feels just hotter, or it just feels hotter these days. It's a very natural, everyday kind of comment you'd hear.
Makes sense.
Exactly. And for Indonesian learners, mastering these common phrases and their formality levels, it's not just about sounding natural. It's really about navigating those unspoken social cues that are baked into the language.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, especially for those of you listening who want to express more nuanced ideas in Indonesian. The article then dives into the grammar side of things, specifically discussing changes using the words makin and jadi lebih.
Right. These are key terms for conveying increasingly or become more.
So this brings up a big question, right? How do you handle the formality when you're talking about things changing? Is there a spectrum?
Yeah, the article lays this out really clearly. For very formal situations, you'd likely use semakin or perhaps menjadi or even menjadi lebih.
Okay, semakin menjadi lebih. Very formal.
Then you have makin and jadi lebih. These are kind of your workhorses. They can function in both formal and informal contexts. A bit more flexible.
Got it. So how does this actually work in practice? Say, if we're talking about numbers going up or down, can you give us examples with verbs showing those kinds of changes?
Definitely. We often pair these words with verbs like bertambah for increasing, berkurang for diminishing or decreasing.
Okay.
Meningkat also for increasing, like prices, and menurun for declining, like health.
Right.
So for instance, in a really formal report, you might read, jumlah peserta semakin bertambah.
Meaning?
The number of participants is increasing. Very formal. But for a more common, everyday example, maybe talking about prices at the market, harga cabai makin meningkat.
The price of chili is increasing. And that one works formally or informally.
Yeah, makin is pretty versatile there. Or if you notice, say, the rice supply dwindling, hari ini nasinya makin berkurang dibanding kemarin.
Which means the amount of rice today is less than yesterday.
Exactly. Makin berkurang, increasingly less.
That's super helpful. And what about describing changes using adjectives? Like someone getting thinner or prettier, or maybe something getting bigger or smaller?
Ah, yes. That's incredibly common in conversation. You just use these words with common adjectives like kurus for thin, gemuk for fat,
Okay.
kantik for pretty or beautiful, panjang for long, besar for big, kesel for small. You get the idea.
Right.
So you might say, sepertinya dia semakin kurus.
It seems like she is skinnier or getting skinnier.
Exactly. Or going back to Lisa and Sari's chat, Lisa could have elaborated, kelihatannya dia makin cantik saja.
She's looking prettier or just getting prettier.
Precisely. Another great one you might hear often. Sudah lama tidak bertemu, rambut kamu semakin panjang sekarang.
Long time. No, see, your hair is longer now, or has gotten longer.
Okay.
And it sounds like there are also specific ways to describe how these changes happen, like the speed, slowly, suddenly.
Oh, absolutely. You can add a lot more detail. For example, to say something is happening gradually, you could use sedikit demi sedikit.
Literally, little by little.
Yep. Or perlahan-lahan, which means slowly. For a sudden change, tiba-tiba is the word you want.
Okay, tiba tiba.
And you can even describe things happening drastically with secara drastis, or sharply with secara tajam.
So using those, we could construct sentences like, sedikit demi sedikit penonton televisi semakin berkurang.
Meaning gradually the audience for television is diminishing. Perfect.
Or maybe something more dramatic. Tiba-tiba kondisi kesehatannya semakin menurun.
Suddenly her health condition is declining.
Yeah.
It works.
You could even use hari demi hari, day by day.
Yes. Hari demi hari implies a steady progressive change. Like, hari demi hari kulitnya semakin halus.
Day by day, her skin is getting smoother.
Or, connecting back to Sari's comment, hari demi hari cuaca rasanya makin panas.
Day by day, the weather feels hotter. It's not just about adding vocabulary, is it? It feels like it unlocks a whole new level of precision, maybe even empathy, in how you talk about things.
That's exactly it. Mastering these structures, it really empowers you to express these nuanced changes in Indonesian. It makes your communication sound much more sophisticated and definitely more natural.
Okay, now let's shift gears a bit. We've talked language mechanics, now let's connect it back to something, well, really fascinating. How language mirrors these deeper cultural values. Remember Lisa's very first observation to Sari? Hey, seems like your skin is getting darker, isn't it? That comment leads us straight into a really profound cultural insight from the source material.
Right, and this is where that cultural contrast becomes incredibly clear. You know, while many Western cultures might idealize a tan,
sunbathing, tanning lotions, the whole deal.
Exactly. The Indonesian cultural preference is often strikingly different. Lighter, brighter skin is typically highly valued.
And darker skin.
Dark skin, conversely, is often viewed as less desirable. So you see people actively avoiding sun exposure, using sunscreen meticulously, carrying umbrellas or parasols.
Right, I've seen that.
And maybe most notably, there's a huge market for skin whitening products.
Yeah, if you've ever watched TV in Indonesia or just walked through a store, you've probably seen this preference really powerfully reinforced, right? advertising plays a huge role.
A massive role. The article actually describes a typical TV ad for a whitening product. You'll often see a storyline like this. A girl feels insecure about her slightly tanned skin, which is kind of portrayed negatively.
Okay.
Then maybe a friend, who's depicted as whiter and more attractive, introduces her to a whitening product. The ad shows her transformation. Her skin becomes visibly whiter.
And the payoff.
Well, usually she becomes more popular, more confident, and very often there's this trope where she even gets a boyfriend by the end of the ad.
Wow. And get this, the article had some data. Back in 2004, just from January to October, Unilever alone spent an incredible $14.6 million on TV advertising in Indonesia.
Wow.
For just one of its skin whitening brands. And the market for these products, it's still growing fast. This isn't just some passing trend. It feels like a really deeply ingrained cultural narrative.
It's quite striking how pervasive that ideal can become. The article shares this really powerful personal anecdote from the author.
Oh, yeah.
They talked about being, in their words, brainwashed by this ideal of Indonesian beauty during their teenage years. So when they first moved to Australia, they actually struggled to find any whitening products at all. Meanwhile, tanning lotions were everywhere. Pharmacies, supermarkets.
Total opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They actually had to ask friends visiting from Indonesia or Singapore to bring whitening products over for them.
That's such a tangible example of cultural difference.
It really is. But interestingly, slowly over time, the author started to adapt to the Western beauty ideals they were seeing around them. They even tried sunbathing and using tanning products.
Oh. A complete reversal.
Kind of. But their current stance now is actually to avoid both tanning and whitening.
Why the change back?
Well, it came from learning about the serious health risks involved. The dangers of excessive sun exposure for tanning, but also, critically, the harmful ingredients like mercury that are sometimes found in certain whitening products.
Mercury? Wow, that's serious.
Yeah, it can damage the nervous system, internal organs. So it became a health issue, not just an aesthetic one.
That's a really powerful personal journey, reflecting maybe a broader shift in thinking too. So given this whole cultural context about skin tone, it's particularly interesting that the source also introduces a very useful Indonesian expression, hitam manis.
Yes, hitam manis. It literally translates to black sweet.
Black sweet.
Yeah, it's a widely used term in Indonesia, and it's specifically used as a compliment for attractive dark-skinned people.
Ah, okay. So because darker skin is generally seen as less desirable in the mainstream beauty standard.
Exactly. Hitam manis kind of serves as this way to acknowledge and appreciate someone's beauty despite that prevailing societal norm. It's a really nuanced compliment, and it shows how language can adapt to express different kinds of appreciation outside the dominant narrative.
That, for me, just pulls everything together so well. This section really shows how language isn't just, words and grammar rules. It's like a mirror.
Reflecting societal norms.
Beauty standards, personal journeys, cultural adaptations, all of it.
Absolutely. And understanding these cultural contexts, it makes learning the language so much more meaningful. And honestly, it helps you avoid potential misunderstandings in your own interactions. It adds that crucial layer of awareness.
What a journey this deep dive has been. Seriously, we started with that simple, everyday Indonesian chat between Lisa and Sari.
Which opened the door to everything else.
Yeah, it led us to unpacking really useful phrases like enggak usah khawatir and rasanya makin panas. Then we tackled the grammar, right? Expressing change using makin and jadi lebih.
With verbs, adjectives, even describing the speed of change.
Exactly. And then we wrapped up with that truly fascinating cultural insight about Indonesian beauty ideals, skin tone, and that wonderful phrase, hitam manis.
So in essence, this deep dive hopefully has equipped you, listening right now, with some really practical Indonesian vocabulary, some essential grammar structures.
But more than that.
Yeah, and a much deeper cultural understanding. All of those pieces are just crucial if you want to become a more proficient and, importantly, a more culturally aware speaker of Indonesian.
So here's a final thought to leave you with as you go about your day. How do our own ideas about change, whether it's in the language we use, how we see appearance, or shifts in society, how do those ideas continuously evolve, maybe mirroring the very kinds of shifts we've just explored today?
Something to ponder.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep exploring.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.